it's Sarah.
And Elizabeth.
And welcome to February's What We're Talking About. Yay! We've made it to month 2.
I know! And today we'll be reviewing or discussing Spies and Saddles by vb123321. I'm just going to give you guys a quick synopsis, so if you haven't read it, this is kind of an introduction so you know some of what we'll be talking about. Nat has always joked about one of her best friends, Molly, being a top-secret CIA agent. After all, it always fit in with her many absences from school, distant trips on the weekends, and unexplained injuries. But Nat never considered the truth behind those jokes, because how could someone from an all-girl Catholic school that wore saddle shoes possibly do any wrong? And then one day, in Algebra 2, when a gun is shoved in her face, everything she thought she knew about Molly flies out the window. With the help of her other best friend Kate, and of course, several attractive males, Nat finds herself caught up in a plot of kidnappings, gunshots, and high-scale adventure, all taking place right inside what she had thought was her comfort zone. Spies and Saddles? Who'd have thought?
Before we get started into the discussion, I thought I'd do a little bit of a shout out and say this book was actually written for the author's friend, and I thought that was absolutely adorable. She wrote a book for her friend. That just friendship goals right there. As soon as I read that, I was like, this is going to be adorable. But yeah, and I've also, the author, I think she got in contact with you as well on Wattpad,
Yes.
and she was just saying, so much of this is inside jokes and stuff, but she really appreciated us doing this, and I hope she enjoys this little video as well. So if you do watch this, we love you too. Anyway, we're gonna get started into the review. I've done my wee mushy bit now, so okay, the first things first, I related way too much with Natalie. If I was in that situation, I'd be thinking all the same thoughts as her. She wasn't catching up. Her running, it felt really believable. She couldn't keep up with them running. She was questioning absolutely everything. I was like, this girl is me if I was in this situation, and I very much appreciated that.
I thought the characters were pretty believable too. Maybe a bit more believable than the plot, because some things happened really suddenly. If I were the bad guy, I probably wouldn't go into the Algebra 2 class to confront her. I mean, I'd wait until she was alone or something like that, but, that's just my personal thing.
Yeah. Well, I agree with that, I think, but for me, when it comes to, stories, I get swayed more with characters than I am plot. I'm like, okay, I'll suspend my disbelief for these characters, I guess. Sure, I'll do that. I'm loving them a bit too much.
Was Natalie your favorite character then? It sounds like you found her really relatable.
Yeah, Natalie definitely was my favorite character. I was really intrigued by Molly, but the more the book went on, the more I started to get really annoyed with her. I'm like, I don't hate you, but you're really annoying me right now. Some of the other characters, apart from maybe Jeremy, they weren't in it long enough for me to gauge if I...
No, for me, Katie was kind of the same way. I didn't really know her enough to like her or dislike her, I guess.
Yeah, I do think maybe in the other books she'll develop more and things, but I do think the main two that got a lot of development, especially friendship-wise, were Molly and Natalie. So I do appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to reading the other books to see how the other characters progress. But I think I didn't really get much of a vibe from the others, and I do think some of the characters were forgotten. They were mentioned and then, oh wait, we forgot about them because the plot's happening or something else is happening. So
I wish Zach were kind of introduced in there earlier, because I'm a romance person. We only had a few chapters at the end, and he seemed like a pretty cool character. In real life, I'd probably have a crush on him,
What I really liked about them, it was yes, she found him cute, but they were initially establishing a friendship. You're there could be romance happening, but they're establishing their friendship, and I really, really liked that. And I'm I wish you could see more of that forming. They seem to get along really well and gel really well, and I'm I wish you could see that more. The only good thing about Zach was the fact that I thought Jackson was going to be her love interest, and as much as he was as haughty and everything, and I was a bit you don't deserve Natalie at all. I was don't be hinting at this guy who's going to be her love interest. Please don't be doing that, please.
Jackson was a little annoying. He seems like a stereotypical obnoxious teenage guy, honestly.
I was going to start book 2, and I was like, I'll get really confused and start talking about it in this what we're talking. I need to, like, not yet.
He has, I think, 3 other books. I think maybe sometime we should check them out and see what happens with the rest of the story.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Mm-hmm.
The first series, what we're talking. I think for me, I like the idea that there was an emotional push for all them to actually want to go out and do stuff. Like, her niece was taken, Molly's little sister, Jackson's little sister. Like, that gave an emotional impact and a reason for them to go out. I don't know, it was just hilarious for me that every single person who she met or she saved was someone she knew. And it was getting to the end, and I was just kind of just like, how many people does she know that are, like, secretly having a double life? I was just like, how can she not know this?
I know, that's kind of where it's like you see that it's more kind of a book that's like an inside joke for friends than an actual, like, book, I guess, intended to be kind of a novel or for the general population, if that makes sense.
Definitely. I would like to know if maybe, like, the teachers and stuff are based off people they know, like if the coach is, like, based off like a coach,
I bet it
or like
is.
the algebra teacher is based off. I'd be really interested to know that. I might have to message her and be like, can you tell me, please? But yeah, she definitely said the first book's very much for her friend, but the books after that go more into plot and actual overarching story and stuff like that. She messaged me telling me that, and I was like, ooh, more reasons for me to go and read them, even though I would, because Natalie's my bae.
Yeah, we should definitely check them out sometime.
The beginning was a bit, not unbelievable, but once you got into this is the world, this is what's happening, you could follow it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think, as you said, the gun thing, and then I don't think as a brother of the CIA, he would bring his little sister with him. He would want her to be away from all the drama, kind of thing. That's my reasoning. But what it started getting interesting, it was like, she went to go and see the concert, and then nothing actually happened at the concert. It happened when they were leaving. It was like, okay, your mission was to hand over a letter and go. Yeah, and I was like, oh, that was a bit like, oh, we expected something to happen because they totally hyped up this concert, and then nothing happened, and then Molly ditched her, and I got really annoyed.
I know, some of the aspects of the plot I felt like were a little unbelievable. I mean, I get that stories in general are unbelievable, but I feel that there are certain logical things that if this were true and her friend was a secret agent, things that might not happen. It was kind of developing at first, and then all of a sudden it felt like the climax just kind of slammed into it. I mean, I guess part of that might just because it's a pretty short story, so you have to fit all that in a fairly short amount of space.
Yeah, I do feel like what it was, the development, if we seem to be developing for such a long time, and then the climax just happened really suddenly. But the climax itself I thought was very short, and everything kind of just quickly looked like everything was just swept under the rug. Yeah. I mean, I do understand she was trying to finish the story, and when she first wrote it, she didn't have the series in mind. It was just meant to be a short story. I get that, but reading it now, I liked it, but at the same time, I was a bit like, okay, this happened. It was like, bam, 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 done. Yeah. And I was like, oh.
Yeah, I did enjoy the climax. I thought she did a good job setting that up, and it was really intense and stuff.
The third act is the hardest thing to write. Books, scripts, everything. It's the hardest thing for anyone to write.
Like I said, I wish the love interest had been introduced earlier, but I liked the parts that I saw of him in the climax, like how he was really sweet and protective and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And I do think if he was introduced earlier, a lot of that may have been not more believable, but like they would have built up that for him to be like that instead of, I feel like that was just a given. Like, earned that kind of him being that kind of protective, but at the same time, him coming in then made sense because it introduced the FBI and Molly's sister being in that agency as well. So maybe just add a few chapters between the climax and there. Add some more. Yeah. More, please.
Yeah, like we've said earlier, the next few books might be different. The pacing might be a bit better.
Oh, I can't wait to read more about Zach and Natalie together.
Yeah, that's true.
I really, as soon as I read the word Zach, this is me having read the Gallagher Girl series, I was like, oh, we got a Blackthorn boy, we got a goodie in here, and I was like, that's not his name, Sarah. You need to get that out of your head right now. Don't compare him to another character called Zack in a Spy series. The plot, in itself, it was very, for how condensed it was somewhat like, the pace didn't feel very, very rushed until the end. Like, everything seemed like it had its breathing space to develop, and it had a reason to be there. Like, I was getting really frustrated with the whole elevator Molly scene, because that seemed to go on forever, and it made me not hate the character, but just get more and more frustrated with her, and I was just like...
And so what did you think about the writing overall?
I was, for her being 15 when she wrote this, the writing I thought was really, from the beginning, you were really immersed in the world and the story, and the writing was really good. I think it's even better than my writing at the moment. I thought, like, the spelling was good, the grammar was good, the actual world building itself was pretty, believable for the actual world she was building. I was really impressed by it, actually.
Yeah, I remember at 15 my writing was, well, it's not what it is now.
When I read that, I was like, oh my gosh, you're so much better than me. I wish her writing now must be amazing.
I'm interested to see how she has developed as a writer since then.
I know, I'm very excited to see how she develops. I was so amazed when I read that book. I was like, your writing's so good, oh my god. The characters of Molly and Natalie, they both made me feel for them. Like, Natalie obviously more in a positive sense than Molly, but I felt something and I was physically like, argh! So I was like, yeah, that's a good book to me when I physically feel something. It's an amazing book if you make me cry, in my opinion.
I know.
What about you? What made this book for you? Good, bad?
I would say it's more good. It was enjoyable. It was probably not one of the best books I read, but that's probably mainly because of the issues we've discussed, and she wasn't fully developed as a writer yet. I'm terrible. I'm such a romance reader. I would have to say I really enjoyed the bit of romance at the end. Like I said, I just love to see more development.
Oh gosh, if there's loads of romance in the next 3 books, you're just gonna be like, Sarah, I'm gushing. I need to tell you.
Do you like romance a lot?
Yeah, I think I normally go for, at the moment, my big read is female friendships, because I don't think there's enough of them in books at the moment, and I love a good female friendship, but I always need a romantic subplot at least, because my heart is just like, we all love love. So I started developing a book over Christmas it's like a girl who is dealing with heartbreak and also trying to deal with feelings for a new guy, and that kind of... She's really conflicted because her heart's been broken, but she's feeling stuff, and it's quite a good wee dynamic. I'm playing around with it, because I'm like, you don't normally write this. Come on, Sarah, let's see if you can. And then I added a space bounty hunter in there, because why the hell not? Make it weird. And I was like, why not? It sounds like it's weird, but okay.
I'm all for bounty hunters. In my opinion, the more assassins there can be in a book, the better. Just because sometimes... This is a confession of a romance reader, but sometimes contemporary romances kind of annoy me, because if there's just the romance, there's not anything else. I feel like even the romance is kind of lacking, because I feel like it's best if there's intense situations that you put them in, which, assassins make for great, really intense situations.
So I've got my own spying series where an assassin and a secret agent, so it's like bad guy, good guy situation, Romeo Juliet, they're together. That's what I was thinking. She actually dies in it in one of them, but she doesn't really, so it is kind of Romeo and Juliet thinking about it now.
Alright, and just so you guys know what we'll be reading next month, it's going to be Frost, Jotun Chronicles #1 by E. Latimer.
I'm halfway through this book, and I'm so excited. It's amazing. This is Elizabeth's recommendation, so I'm really enjoying it so far. I was really surprised I was liking it. I was like, oh, this isn't my normal kind of book.
Wait, you were surprised that you liked one of my recommendations?
No, I was surprised how much I'm liking it, because it's not my normal go-to read.
Yeah, I get that.
Anyway, guys, that is our weird discussion that our normal, what we're talking about are. I hope you really, really enjoyed it, and make sure to go to Lizzie's channel, as soon as this video is over, because we have done a bonus video once again where we're going to be taking some quizzes to see what spies we'd be like. Ooh. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give this a big thumbs up and subscribe to Elizabeth's channel and my own, and we will see you very, very soon. Bye!